So, because backdating your GitHub can be quite tedious, doing it manually, and I didn't think it looked. I think it looks suspicious if it's one update every day. I know for consistency, blah 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 blah, but I'd rather have a couple updates every day. I'm going to use January as an example, and you can see that I have no entries in January. So the first step is you're going to create a new repository. I would say in advance for this, you're going to need Microsoft Power Automate. It's a free automation tool from Microsoft. It is super robust. It's a no-code style approach to automation, and it's really, really brilliant. If you ever get very annoyed at doing repetitive tasks, I would definitely look into it. This link will be in the description. You can go here and you can just hit download, follow the instructions. I think you need a Microsoft account, but I mean they're free, so you can just use a fake email if you need to, and download and install that, and then come back to this part of the video. So create a new repository, and just go create one new. Cheat git. I'm going to tick on private, and make sure that in your GitHub profile settings that you have I can't remember the phrasing out, but it's like allow commits in private repos to contribute to your contribution graph, just so that we're going to do all these updates and commits privately, and then at the end of it you can just delete this repository. So create repo. So create a folder locally that you want to do all this in. Open bash terminal to that location, or by right clicking or doing like change directory. We're going to initialize this for git, and then we're going to copy these just last 3 commands. Paste, and this one, and then just going to create a file just to check that this is all working. So test.js. You can use touch to create a file in the whatever directory you're in using bash. So that's what that's what this automation is going to use a lot. Then we're just going to grab this last command and paste it in. Now, I'm going to add that file that I created to the staging area. Do we commit for it? Message. And then I'm going to paste in this last command. Paste. Yes. Refresh GitHub, and it works. It's connected. Fantastic. So we're going to put you over here. We're going to put you up here. And we're going to open up Microsoft Power Automate. So when you open up, it'll look like this. There are examples there, and they're pretty amazing. Again, you should have a look at it when you have the chance. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a new flow. GitHub cheater. No judgment on this. So it gets created. It's going to look daunting. Again, it's ridiculously powerful. A lot of the concepts of programming that you're familiar with, like loops and variables and conditionals, it has those. You just sort of drag them out onto here and you fill in the values. It's all very visual. It's like a visual programming thing. So this isn't to teach you how to use Power Automate. I hope you glean something from it, but this is just going to walk you through the exact steps that you need to do. So again, we're going to focus on January for this example. So 30 days has September, April, June, and November. So we're going to need 1 to 31 days. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to open loops, and we are going to pull out a loop. This is going to control the day value that we're going to pull in later. So we're going to start at 1, go to 31 because we're dealing with January, increment it by 1, and this is the variable that it generates. We're going to rename that to day and hit save. We are then going to search here focus, a focus window, and pull that into the loop, into the middle of it. and we're going to change by window UI element to by title and or class. And we're going to choose select window. And this will just allow us to select what window on our computer do we want to have focus when this part of the program runs. So select window, and we are going to go over to our Git terminal. You can left click like normally here, you can navigate around, and you can see that a red bounding box occurs around the window that we are currently on. We want to hold down control and left click that terminal window so that it auto fills in all the information that it needs here. Once you've done that, just hit save. So as I said, I want between between like 1 and 5 commits to be done every day. So I'm going to search generate and pull out generate random number and pull that just below focus window. So 1 and 5, and I'm fine leaving that variable called random number, and hit save. So now we actually need our loop again, so I'm going to search loop and pull loop out just below generate random number. And this loop is going to be what sort of like takes the current, this is going to loop from 1 to that random number that was selected, and it's going to run all the commands to like create a file, add it to the staging area, make a commit for it, and then amend that date, amend the date of that commit, and then push it. So it's going to do that multiple times depending on what random number was picked for this day. So we can start from 1, and it will go to, and we want it to go to random numbers, so we can go over here and click select variable, and we can choose random number. So it will go from 1 to random number, incrementing by 1, and the variable it creates is loop index, which is fine. You can leave that as loop index. Hit save. So there's our main for loop made. So at the moment, it's gonna, starting from day 1, it's going to focus on the terminal, and then it's going to generate a random number, and then it's going to do a loop. So we want to send some text into this terminal. So we're going to search send keys and pull that out to between this new loop. And what we wanted to first of all do is we wanted to create a file, and we're going to name the file Jan, because we're dealing with January, and then followed by the day that we're on. So for the first time it runs, it'll be the first day, so it'll be Jan 1. Then we're going to also plug in the loop index. So that would be like, because we're in a for loop here essentially, if it say generated that it's going to do 3 commits for January 1st, the first time this runs, it will create a file called jan11. The second time it runs, it will create a file called jan12, then jan13, and then it'll finish out and it'll go to jan2, and it'll start that at jan21, etc. So hit that. Then we want the extension for the file, so .js, and then we also wanted to hit the return key. So we're going to insert special keys, miscellaneous, enter. So after that, hit save. It creates those files when you create a file with touch, it creates it pretty much instantly, but we still wanted to wait a second just so it doesn't get backed up. So we're going to search wait, pull in wait, put it just under send keys, and just get to wait for 1 second. After that, we're going to go back and get another send keys and pull in down below the wait. And this is just going to be to, now that the file's being created, to git add asterisks, and then also return. So that will add the file that we just created to the staging area. And again, we wait. Just 1 second here is fine as well. It's quite quick. And then we go back to send keys. And then this is the longer one. This is where we do the full commit. And we're just going to say message. And also, we want to amend the date for this. So we do amend, dash amend, followed by a space, and then dash date equals single quote. The year 2022, the month, so 01, because we're dealing with January, and then we do dash, and then we want to plug in here the day value, so that will be 1 for the first day it runs, etc. And then after that we want to finish our single quote, and then do insert special keys miscellaneous enter, so that it hits enter and does this commit. Now this part can take slightly longer, so we're going to add a wait in under it and set that to 2 seconds. It's still going to be incredibly faster than you doing it manually, so that's fine. We're going to go back to send keys, and this is where we just need to push that update to Git. So Rufio explained it brilliantly. I was just watching her video, if you haven't, on working with amending dates if you want to do it manually, if you're a sadist or masochist. So I found that sometimes it can have a weird error because it senses that there's a date mismatch between the repo that you're trying to push to and what you have locally, what you've amended the commits to locally. So rather than deal with that, I just do git push force. Use with care in your actual projects that you care about, but in this you don't care, so you can just do force, and it'll push it through. And then we want to finish it with the enter key. So hit save, and again we wait 2 seconds just to make sure that that's been pushed properly. Now you can change those values if your PC is super sluggish, or if your internet's super sluggish, and that maybe increase those wait values. But that's it. Like, that's it done. Now we just actually have to run it. So we can hit save up here, this wee save icon, the floppy disk. And then I'm going to pull this over here. I'm going to minimize that. I'm going to have it that you can see the folder, so you'll be able to see all the files being created, and you can see this here. So all you do is hit run, and you see it will bring the Git terminal to the foreground, and it'll start typing. We'll do touch Jan 1-1, so that's January 1st in the first iteration if it chose a random number. It did choose a random number, but the random number was just 1 that it chose. So that's why it did it once and then went straight on to January 2nd. You see January 2nd did jan21.js, and now it did jan22.js. And we'll see if it does jan23. No, it didn't. So it just chosen the random number 2. I'm just going to let this run for a bit. See the January 3rd one, January 3rd 2, push, January 3rd 3. So you can see that this is a lot more relaxing than doing it manually. But you can do it manually either. Like those steps are there if you want to do it manually. You can just sort of get a bit robotic about it. January 4th. January 4th 2. We'll let go to January 5th. Just so we have a nice solid 5-day. January 5th. So you could let it run for the month. Remember, because you set the outside for loop to 1 to 31, it will do it until the 31st day. But I just want to stop it. So you can see here, you can just press stop at any time. I'm just going to let it finish this rather than have it stuck in the middle. So I'm going to hit stop. And you can see there, if we go to my homepage, boom, 1 commit, 2 commits, 4 commits, 2 commits, 2 commits, 1 commit. And there you go. So when you've let that run throughout the whole of January in this instance, You then, if you want to move on to February or whatever, there's 3 things you have to change. You have to double click on this topmost loop, and that'll open up the settings for it. And you just make sure the end date is how many days are in that month. So if you're changing it to February, you change the end date to 28. You come down here and you double click into this, and instead of Jan, you just change the prefix for your files to Feb, and then hit save. And then down here in the one that has the commit and the amend and the date value, you're just double clicking into this, and you're setting these two digits to make sure that they're set to the correct month. So if we're aiming for February, we want 02. And then obviously for March, that would be turned to 03. Feb would be replaced with like MAR or whatever you want. It's just to make sure that the file names are different. And 28 will be changed to 30 days. That's never ever doing that. It will be changed to 31. And that's it. So this is all set up for February now. So if I hit run there, it would start looping through, and it would name the files February 1, etc. And it would push the dates for 2022, the second month, February, and then the day. So it would run fine. And that's it. That's how you do it. If you have any questions, reach out to me on, I guess, leave a comment.